Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited today to bring you guys some more draft action, along with the recent affiliation on Twitch and with Rep Sports. We also signed up for a new draft league to collaborate with some more content creators. And this week, in week 1 of the BSL draft league, we have our man Arts from YouTube. You may, if you've been around my streams or my YouTube channel, you've definitely seen him. He was in the PWD, although we never did get a match together in draft format before today. So, like I said, I'm very excited to bring you guys this match today. And you already see me putting in the code. We're going to link up right now. Should be a great battle. I definitely am very excited. Arts is the captain of the New York Cinderace this season in the BSL, the Battle Sparks League, and he drafted his mascot as well as the Gigantamax Snorlax. He has some of his key pieces from the PWD, including Rotomo and Mantine. He has Noivern, he has Brydon, and some good like mid level picks. And he also has the S tier Grimmsnarl. I don't know how I forgot to mention that, because that's definitely a key component in his team. So he's definitely bringing a very diverse and balanced team. My team this season, I don't want to give away too many of my deep dark secrets, but I'm playing to my play style as well as I can for this one, and I'm playing like a offensive, hyper offense based webs and Aurora Veil based strategy, where I have reliable rock setters, hazard setters. I drafted Shuckle and a Alolan Ninetales that can set up well together or separately, and some very potent offensive Pokemon to go with them. Como was my first pick, and obviously it can be a potent offensive presence, but also it has a variety of uses, and I hope to be able to use it in many different ways and keep my opponents on their toes, with a variety of different sets and options and modes for that Pokemon. Also makes a good core with my Alolan Ninetales, and then I rounded that out with a Bisharp, which in the event that somebody were to defog away the hazards I like to set up, in the event that somebody were to maybe bounce or court change my hazards back to me, Bisharp can be used as like a counter to some of my counter strategies, as well as providing a steel type to my team, a very reliable one at that. I was lucky to pick up some really good Pokemon in my middle tier picks with Arcanine and Seismitoad. They obviously make a very good core together. They provide a lot of resistances and defenses together, as well as having maybe not as many as, say, a Como-O, but they have offensive variants for sure, especially in the case of Arcanine. But Seismitoad, can definitely carry a decent move set. It carries a decent move set in both physical and special. So I feel like it was a really balanced and I also drafted as my Gigantamax. I drafted Toxtricity. I drafted Gigantamax Toxtricity, which, like I said, I want to hit hard. When he sets up with Shift Gear, it definitely mitigates one of his biggest problems as a offensive presence, which is, of course, his speed. In this league, the rules are that you can only Dynamax the Pokemon that you drafted as your Gigantamax Pokemon. So, Toxtricity is the only Pokemon that I can use the Dynamax mechanic with. And it's also worth saying I cannot use a Dynamax Toxtricity. I have to use Gigantamax. But I feel like I did a pretty good job of drafting a Pokemon that is strictly better than its regular form in its Dynamax form. My team, which relies on the support of things like Stealth Rocks and Sticky Webs to gain the advantage with its sweepers, can sometimes bring in Toxtricity as like a mid-game wall breaker, and with its signature Gigantamax move, it can spread a little bit of status, both poison and paralyze, that can effectively wear down defensive threats with poison or break sashes, and or possibly slow them down with the paralyze. And so like I'm very comfortable with my team. If nothing else, I drafted a team that I knew well, could play comfortably, and well, I'm not sure exactly how much I want to divulge, but let's just say that this team was drafted because I think I know some pretty secret techs with some of these Pokemon. Alright, I don't know if that's a little too cocky to say, but that's the best way I can say it vaguely without divulging too much information. You know, I got some picks, and I don't want to mention any names, that I feel like counter certain strategies directly that were drafted, while also being some of my, you could say, familiar or pet type Pokemon that I just like to use and commonly have used in different ways. You could also say that my team was drafted with a lot of value in mind, because having picks in the B and C tiers like I have, Seismitoad would probably be the ideal example, because that's a very heavily used in OU Pokemon that's like smack in the middle of my draft. I think that Beware is its usage isn't exactly where it could be, but its potential in draft, I think that it's a Pokemon that a Pokemon that is stronger in this format. The word I'm looking for is a Pokemon that takes advantage of knowing what your opponent might bring very well. And actually, this matchup is a great example, because my opponent has one of the most reliable fire types in the game. I chose not to bring my Beware this week and go a different route with trying to clean up late game if it comes down to the last couple mons between me and him. And in other instances, say if I didn't see a reliable fire type, there's a rain team. Okay, it's got good special offense that won't have to make contact moves, but at the same time, it doesn't have that fire. You can't take advantage of that extra fire weakness. So therefore, Beware does have a very solid typing, good bulk, as well as really strong physical attack. So the amount of sets that I could bring with Beware, depending on my opponent, is really good. He should be searching anytime soon. And then we'll get it started. I've kinda... Did I miss anybody for my draft on what little breakdown I'm gonna give you before this battle? Oh, I did also draft the Spin Blocker, Grass type, and I would say utility Pokemon, but when I think of utility Pokemon, I do kind of think of more like my pick Shuckle, that has access to hazards and things like that. While it can do various different things, I think that its true purpose on this team is like to provide a depth to my support, if that makes sense. Things like being a spin blocker is a great example, because Trevenant can play certain roles, and it has a little bit of offensive presence. I wouldn't underrate its offensive presence that can be used in rare forms of utility. I think that that's a good way of putting it, that he provides some of the more underused types of utility, where I have the immediate bases you would probably be thinking of covered. But he's another Pokemon that could be a lot better if he was a little bit faster. Could be a lot better if he could take certain types of hits a little bit better than what he can. And so he's the type of Pokemon that will benefit from the combination of setups that I'm bringing in this draft lineup. He does take a little bit extra damage from the hail if he comes out immediately after I were to set up an Aurora Veil, assuming that I'm not in some kind of weather battle. But being able to take like fire attacks, possibly dark attacks, especially if I were to run like Cobra Berry Harvest, make it hard to break down a threat like that in future matchups where there are certain ways to take down a Trevenant that can be highly effective. Otherwise highly effective, and then possibly mitigated with the rest of my team. So Arch is about ready. He says he's going to be searching, and that means that this battle should be on the way in just a moment. I'm about to double check my code real quick just for safekeeping. Alright, here we go. So like I said, we have Arts of the New York Cinderace. I wish him the best of luck and, you know, much success this season. Although this is a competitive game and, you know, we got to do this right now. So, battle's supposed to be played in normal rules. Battles are best of one, unlike in the PWD. So we get one shot at this. This is what we're bringing. The week 1 matchup versus Arts. I'm very excited. By the way, check him out on the same name, ARRTZ on YouTube. He is bringing Snorlax, Grimmsnarl, Cinderace, Rotom, Dual Blade, and Noivern. Alright, so a solid lineup for sure. Kind of already thought out the way I wanted to lead this battle. Kind of wanted to weigh out the option that covered the most ground, and therefore I'm going to lead with Como. Let me look at this matchup one more time. Alright, and we are going to get it started. Week 1 of the BSL versus Arts. I see he brought the fire uniform to represent his New York Cinderace well, and led with the Cinderace, as I predicted, was a high possibility. Now, I don't know if I forced this thing out or not. He did bring the Noivern, which is a concern of mine. So I'm going to lead with the Dragon Tail, see what he goes with, and if he switches to the counter like he did, okay, he goes to his Grimmsnarl, which is not going to take this Dragon Tail, and that's okay. Because if he goes to set up screens now, no, I can't afford any type of risk of this, so I believe he brought this out to bring a fairy type attack, and so therefore I'm going to switch. Yeah, I'm going to switch to my Rocky Helmet Arcanine. Gotta kind of play it safe at first. Can't get aggressive for no reason. Okay, he's gonna start with his screens, and we're okay with that. As a matter of fact, we have something for it. I'm gonna go for the close combat, but before he can Thunder Wave or attack me back with my defenses dropped, I'm gonna go ahead and do something about these screens. Now, he did bring the Dual Blade, which could potentially block this play that I'm about to try to make. But if he does go that route, then that's kind of a advantage. And also with Dual Blade not having a ton of weaknesses, I can't see too many reasons to do that against a ground type Pokemon that could potentially directly attack one of those weaknesses. Now, this is not going to be the biggest opportunity for damage, but I really feel like I need to do something about these screens or this game's gonna get out of hand. Now, what set he might run on this Noivern, I don't know. But it could be Nasty Plot or something crazy. I don't know if it gets any reliable setup moves that it didn't have previous gen. But now I know that we're just gonna get some lucky hacks, which is unfortunate for our opponent, but we broke the screens. We're switching it up. The Hail is gonna do good chip to this if he stays in for any longer. Ah, nice prediction. So this outspeeds my Ninetales, and with that damage on it, I can't afford to stay in again. So instead, we're just gonna take our Hail and go here. He made a really good prediction on that play, and there's nothing really I can do but kind of backpedal a little bit after that. And like I said, he is taking big damage from this Hail, as well as taking Life Orb damage. So our position against this threat is not bad. Draco Meteor, if we can live it with a defensive, you know, we got good HP bulk, and we do barely manage to live that. It was a risk worth taking. Now we get the Wild Charge, which will knock out our Arcanine, which I hoped to save for some later, damage, but it truly had to be done in that case. Now, with the special attack lowered, I don't know why he wouldn't switch. So, keeping that in mind, it's probably a good time for him to bring out a dual blade. And I'm gonna pivot and attempt to maybe get a knockoff on that thing. Oh, he goes to his Snorlax, which is a smart play considering Arcanine was one of my best options for it. However, I do have an option for this as well still on my team, and that is my Como-O. Now, he does still have the Grimmsnarl, which he can switch in if he possibly predicts I will try to Dragon Tail his potential Belly Drum. But between that Specs Volt switch and this body press, the truth is that I'm hoping to pick up the kill. We are a mixed variant, but we have higher defense than we have attack invested in this Pokemon. He goes to Dual Blade, which is a smart play and does give him the opportunity to maybe get a turn of setup in. But even if it's costly and takes some assets away from my team, I have a tech to come in and try to knock this off. I've been trying to conserve this and not let it take that much damage, which a Shadow Sneak against this would hurt. But it should be fine, even though I'm more offensively invested than most Seismitoads. It does hurt a lot, but we managed to get the knockoff off. Alright, yeah. This is the way it's gotta be. Maybe that would have been the time when I wanted my Beware, but now with this thing's defenses a lot lower, I feel pretty comfortable being able to battle it. It's going to be a threat with +2 attack no matter what, but we have a chance still. Like I said, this is supposed to be like a mid-game wall breaker, and we got great HP. We can do great damage, and let's see what he tries to bring to stop me. He goes to the Snorlax, and I'm going to Max Ooze to try to boost my special attack. As predicted, he's going to Gigantamax here. I can say that does at least eliminate the potential for a belly drum, although he was kind of a little low on the HP side to be thinking that route anyway. Snorlax does have pretty solid natural special defense, so he's gonna eat this hit right up, and we may have the incoming Max Quake to deal with now. Which we managed to live. I can hardly believe. It's going to raise his special defense even more though, so we're going to go for the status. And maybe we can roll a paralyze and another turn, but even if not, it is what it is. He's going to max replenish. Gonna give him a chance to get another berry. And my Toxtricity is gonna go down to a Snorlax. So now we're going to bring in the plan B for dealing with this. And the truth also is, we're going to go ahead and put our rocks up, because if we do get past this threat, we're still way behind. Alright. Now we have the chance to get a body press off, don't we? Or should we go for the earthquake? We have to go for the body press. This thing's too much of a threat. Alright. He's gonna let Snorlax go down to a critical hit. Como, my first pick, will pick up its first kill of the season. Let's see what we can do to this. Okay, he wants the Will-O-Wisp, which honestly I'm fine with absorbing the status with Como-O, because its main form of offense is going to be using its defense as a stat in order to do damage. And we just so happen to pick up a lucky kill, which will prevent him from getting a free sack later on in the game if he needed a possible momentum play. You can switch your Pokemon into Stealth Rocks and die, and my attack will just go into the air, you know, saving you a turn of something that you might have wanted to live more. Now I'm gonna go for damage and try the same sequence that I wanted the first time this happened. So now he should reflect. Oh wait. And I will match his screens. I can't break his screens anymore. I did let that go down. Means Cinderace might be a problem, but oh, what a solid miss. I've gotten a couple really timely hacks this game. That's gonna be really key if I happen to win. Oh, he's gonna taunt. Nicely done. But I'm also doing damage and wearing down his screens. I may not get mine up at any point in this game. No, we are not going to get our screens up at any point in this game. We are going to have another opportunity to body press this Grimmsnarl. It's going to do less damage than time before, but oh, the crit right in the nick of time. So it all comes down to this. Huh. It's funny, I didn't even write this Pokemon in my stat sheet. What a shame. Gotta be what it's gotta be, man. We're gonna get the heat wave off, but will we be able to pick up the last kill? All comes down to the last Pokemon. It's a great battle between me and Arch, no matter which way it goes. I want to say good game to him. We aren't able to pick up the kill. So we barely go down in a close one, week 1. Gotta give mad props to Arts. Good game. Gonna go ahead and sign off, but check him out on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next time.